The Mormon Battalion, a march that changed people's lives for the best and the worst. But what is this march, and why did they start it? These are all logical questions, but what are the answers?
Stop being all dramatic.
Fine. On July 20th, 1846, the Mormons started a march. This particular march was known as the Mormon Battalion. The Mormons wanted to be a Zion of people and be at peace in their community, but this couldn't happen without them taking action. They decided to try and find a new place that they could live in. On January 24th, 1847, they finally arrived at their destination. The Mormon Battalion was significant in history because of many reasons. One of those reasons are the many towns and cities they established in this march. This march was triumphant in many ways, including bringing the LDS religion to Utah, but still had many, many tragedies. Is that better?
Yes, it is. Before we get into what actually happened, let's take a look at what happened to cause the Mormons to want to leave. The Mormons were peaceful people who lived in many different places. They were people who believed in something different from other people, something new. Because of this, the townsfolk began to fear the Mormons. The people were afraid of the Mormons because they thought that something new would be bad. Because of this, the townsfolk decided to take action.
Yes, the townsfolk began to persecute the Mormon people. They would even burn down the Mormons' houses and belongings. They were sick and tired of being persecuted only for what they believed in. They were so upset that they decided to take action. They were...
Katie, stop being so dramatic.
Oh, come on.
As my partner was saying, they decided to take action, and this, everyone, is the main part of the Mormon Battalion.
Yes, everyone had to walk. Thousands got sick and died.
Although they had to walk, the Mormons thought of this as a way to find a Zion. This began with Brigham Young asking the U.S. government for help.
And he said that if he couldn't find help with them, he would go to the government they were enemies with.
Katie, calm down.
It won't be as fun.
So the government agreed to enlist hundreds of Mormons, and the battalion began. After 3 weeks, 5 companies were ready to march. Each company consisted with about 100 men, more than 30 women, and 40 children.
Isn't it sad? Children had to walk thousands of miles.
Katie, what did I say?
Not to be dramatic.
Okay, never mind that little setback. Let's get back to the Mormon Battalion. As I was saying, the Mormons had to walk about 2,000 miles until they reached San Diego, but we aren't that far yet.
The first 4 companies left on July 20th, 1846. The 5th company left 2 days later. The families that were left behind were under the protection of the U.S. government. Some families had to be left behind.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Okay, the Mormons started their journey at Little Pony River Council Bluffs. The first place they arrived on their amazing journey to Zion was Fort Leavenworth.
Well, they then passed through Mound City and Oregon.
Indeed they did. Isn't this exciting?
Well, not really, but if you say so.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so in the winter of 1846 to 1847, many sick detachments were sent to Arizona. Sick, I say, sick!
Calm down, Katie. It's okay. This is supposed to be a happy, good subject.
But what about the people who died and the families that died? What about the widows?
The windows?
I said widows. W-I-D-O-W-S.
Okay, but you said windows. It may be true that some families died, and it is sad, but there was one woman and widow who played a huge role in the Mormon Battalion. Her name was Phoebe Draper. Phoebe was born on October 9th, 1797, in a place called Rome, New York. She moved to Richmond, Ontario, Canada at age 10 to go help her grandparents.
But, that would be super sad, wouldn't it? Because she would kind of be leaving her home, and it's super sad.
Actually, it's great that she moved to Canada because she found what she loves to do, teach. By age 15, Phoebe decided to teach primary school. After that, she met George, and they got married a few years later.
Yuck!
She was then converted to the church with her children, though her husband George stayed away from it.
Oh, here's the exciting part.
After a while, the Palmer family came closer and closer together. Family members were moving closer in.
Okay, that was not the exciting part. I will tell it. While the Palmer family went to church, George and Eliza stayed behind. Then there was a fire. This fire killed Eliza and gave George a sickness that later took his life, leaving Phoebe alone with the rest of her children.
Okay, well, the LDS Church had decided to move west to create a Zion of people. When the Mormon Battalion came, Phoebe became a cook and marched along with it. She was one of the only 4 women allowed to travel all the way to San Diego. Then a great thing happened, a great thing. Phoebe got to march to Sutter's Mill to get gold tithings, and then she delivered them to Brigham Young. She did extraordinary things that there is even a town named after her, Draper City in Utah.
Man, that was like really boring. The only exciting part was the fire. That's it. Nothing else.
Really? Not that the fact that she has done amazing things and did things most women wouldn't be able to?
Nope.
If you want exciting, how about we talk about long-term and short-term impacts?
Well, sure. I mean, if only it's exciting.
Okay, well, for short-term impacts, families got to live in peace because they weren't being persecuted anymore. People also found gold when they arrived in San Diego, California. Let's see, how about how people weren't straying away from the church anymore in fear of being persecuted? Is that exciting yet?
Not really. Like, it's not really interesting.
Okay, then how about we talk about the long-term impacts? A long-term impact would be that without the Mormon Battalion, the LDS religion wouldn't be in Utah. Cities and towns were also being formed after the battalion settled. A cool city was formed named Draper City, named after Phoebe. The Mormons also founded Cave Creek, which is found in Arizona. Last but not least, a statue was also made in Phoebe's honor. Please tell me that's exciting for you.
Well, like, it really could be more exciting, couldn't it? So, like, what if people started trying to burn down her statue? Like, wouldn't that be so much more exciting about whatever you were talking about?
But Katie, that didn't happen though.
Aww.
Well, that's pretty much everything about the Mormon Battalion. We talked about the impacts, the battalion itself, and about Phoebe. What now?
I guess we could sign off. Do you want to do it?
Sure. Well, that's everything.
Aw, but I wanted to do it.
Then why did you ask me?
Because I was being polite. Anyway, this is our documentary.
Nuh-uh. You said I could sign off the video.
Well, I'm gonna do it.
No, I am.